Hello everyone, this is John Jenkins, and I'm going to bring you another video uh, in the I Will Be Rich series. I Will Be Rich series, and it's the second video. I'm going to go through all the books that I read in 2016, and there's 47. No, I'm sorry. In 2016 it was 47 that I started and finished, and there was one of them that I didn't finish until this year. So I'm gonna go into that, and I'm going to talk about all the books I read. I did 1 through 5 last week, and now I'm gonna do 6 through 10. And of course, a lot of people will disagree with me on what I thought about the books, but you know, um, yeah, that's all I have to say. So, without further ado, number 6, Sorcery Rising by Jude Fisher from 212 from February 12th to February 24th. So it took me 13 days. It's inclusive, so you have to count the 12 as well. So it's actually 13 days that it took me to read that book. And this is the book, Sorcery Rising by Jude Fisher. Uh, there was a period of time in which people in my building kept leaving, piles and piles of books in the lobby, and I would go down there and I would pick out the ones that appealed to me, and you know, on this particular day, I wanted to get another book, but I was too late. Somebody else got it, so I was like, okay, you snooze, you lose. I was too late to get the book I wanted, but this one appealed to me. I like the color, the color scheme on the cover. You can see the lady holding the cat, you know. Uh, and the caption says, "With magical forces in flux, will the annual Alfair spark a war between nations of Era? Would the annual Alfair spark a war between the nations of Era and Istria?" And basically, I used to think I used to think that at first when I first read the story, I was like, the main character is exactly like my sister. But then I realized that the main character was more like me, And the thing I don't like about the book is that it's not. I know you're gonna think I'm stupid when I say this, but it's not real magic. It's like, it's like uh, the magic in the thing is like it's like cheap fortune telling, and different charms and different symbols. It's not like, uh, they don't do anything. It's like they just say a bunch of stuff that sounds magical. The characters the characters don't, change form into different animals. They don't, make fire and ice and all sort of stuff. They're just regular people who pretend to have magical abilities, and I really didn't like that. And the book is, why did the book take 12 days to read? Because it's 528 pages long, and it really takes a long time to read the pages. I think I was reading, what, 40 pages a day, You know, uh, I think so. So yeah, uh, I didn't like the fact that the magic in the book was really cheap and really not really even like interesting. I didn't like that about the book, but I did finish the whole thing, and the ending was forgettable. I don't even remember how the book ended. The beginning was really interesting, but the ending was forgettable. And yeah, I'm a lot like the main character in this book. It's as I was reading this book, I was like, story of my life. But that's enough for the first one. I spent 5 minutes talking about one book. Man, okay. Uh, Next one, the How to Write Short Stories by Sharon Sorensen. Uh, uh, for the last book, I would say that it was between bad, good, and great. I would say that it was a good book. It really trailed off at the end. It wasn't that interesting at the end, but it was a good book because it had a strong beginning and a likable character and a good conflict. It reminds me of another book, just as an honorable mention. It reminds me of this book, Orphan's Journey, that uh, I bought this at Borders right before it closed in my neighborhood. I had a Borders in my neighborhood years ago, and when they were closing, they had this like massive sale, and um, everybody was trying to get all. I tried to get as many books as I could. They were like 80% off for the books, and it's really interesting. Like we, the best time to buy books is when uh, when the bookstore closes, because you see the books that nobody else wants, and they're kind of interesting. The ones that nobody wants are kind of interesting. I bought a book on Brock Lesnar's life, but I'm getting sidetracked. This book, Orphan's Journey, was uh, written by Robert Baitner. You can read how his name is spelled. It's called Robert Baitner, Orphan's Journey, and it's really a lot like Sorcery Rising. I like the connection between the two. And uh, the seventh book on my list was How to Write Short Stories by Sharon Sorensen, and it was a very useful book. I don't remember what I read in the book. It was a very forgettable book, but you know, well, it helped me to gain more interest in writing short stories. It helped to motivate me to write more short stories, and then I really went off the deep end. I was writing so many short stories, and after reading that book, I read it a couple of times, but I don't remember anything that I read in there, except that I do remember that there were a couple of short stories in there that were very interesting. One was about one of the short stories was about uh, one of the short stories about with three kids that were playing in a tent by their house, and another short story was about a kid who liked to carve things. He liked to carve things. So I remember the short stories I read in there, but I don't remember any of the lessons that were taught in the book. I wanted to check the book out again so I could try to learn some more. But somebody else checked it out from the library. I've never seen it since. Never. So it's been like what, a year since that book has been in the library and nobody's ever returned it. So okay, so that's the seventh book. I read that book from February 16th to February 27th. Now, back in those days, I was reading four different. I was reading from four different books a day, and so that's why it's overlapping with the previous book because I would read. I would have slots. Basically, there was a some more one morning slot and three afternoon slots, and in those slots would be like four different books. I would read four different books at the same time, or later on I started reading two different books at the same time. Um, you know, it's a much faster way to read because I don't know why, but if you read, even though it's the same time for each, you know, you finish each book faster. I don't know why. You know, if you read four at a time. Um, or you finish more books in a year by reading four books a day than you would by just reading one book for 4 hours a day. Basically, if you read four books for an hour a day, you'll read faster than reading one book for 4 hours a day. You'll get more books read in a year. And I noticed that, but I'm still reading the one book a day because I want to stay focused. So I read How to Write Short Stories by Sharon Sorensen from February 16th to February 27th, and yeah, I would say that it was a great book because of those short stories, and it talked about the elements of a short story. It has to have a conflict. They were really focused on having a conflict in the story. So I don't remember what the book said, but it was still a great book. Okay, if only because it got me to write more short stories. Okay, The Lose of Shanghai from February 19th to uh, October 12th of 2016 of last year. All these books were finished last year, except for the one that was finished this year. Um, so excellent book. The Lose of Shanghai, excellent book. I mean, absolutely excellent. Basically, it follows the lose of Shanghai. It's a family, a rich family from China around the time of. It starts right before Chairman Mao and Chiang Kai-shek uh, 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 were fighting for control of China. So, you know, Mr. Liu, who was a very well connected Chinese businessman, uh, he got mixed up in the entire World War II fiasco because in the beginning of the book, the Japanese just started invading China and they were stealing stealing Chinese wealth. So Mr. Liu sent his sons out to. Uh, uh, he had eight sons. He sent them to Britain and the United States to go to college, and one of them went to Oxford, another one went to Yale, another one went to uh, the Wharton School, I believe. So they went to all these prestigious universities. I mean, all of them went to prestigious universities. I mean, that would have been the dream for me. But all of his kids went to prestigious universities, and he wanted them to get foreign. He wanted them to become foreign citizens so that he could transfer his wealth to them, so that the Japanese wouldn't be able to steal his wealth and his businesses. Because the Japanese were invading China, and they were saying, if we own this country now, then all of the wealth that's in this country belongs to us. So Mr. Liu was like, I want my sons to get foreign citizenship, and uh, so that I can transfer my wealth out of the country. And so they went out, they learned English, and that's why I'm trying to learn all these languages now, because his kids would just went out and learned English and uh, 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 Japanese. One of his sons went to college in Japan, and it's amazing how Japan's invading China, but he sends one of his sons into Japan to be a college student. I think that was his uh, I think that was his fourth or fifth son went to Japan as a student, and so yeah, so he sent his children over there, and uh, but they were reluctant to give foreign citizenship. I believe his eighth son is the only one who became a foreign citizen. He became a U.S. citizen. He never went back to China after the war was over. There's a whole story about that. You should read that. And so it just follows his family, and the ending was especially the ending was especially riveting. Nonfiction is the most entertaining reading you'll ever find, and yeah, yeah. So you should read the book if you ever want to learn about, how if you're interested in learning about wealth and wealthy people, then this is definitely a book that you should read. And the next book, number nine, The CEO Tightrope by Joel Trammell, from February 27th to uh, March 3rd. So it took me 7 days, because you have to add on the 27th as well. So it took me, I'm sorry, let me see. 2016 would have been 19 days, and I'm sorry, 2016 would have been 29 days in a month. So that would be 7 days still, because no, that would be 6 days. 6 days, yeah. It took me 6 days. Yeah, 6 days. 6 days, adding in the 27th and then 28th, 29th, and then going to the 3rd. That would be 6 days. And the cover of the book is so beautiful. The cover of the book is so high quality. The graphic design is so high quality and interesting. I just had to get it, and the title is just great. The problem with the book is that it thinks in binary. It's like CEOs are either optimistic or they're pessimistic. CEOs are either cheerleaders or they're uh, uh, you know, uh, sounding the alarm. So it's so binary, and the thing is just one left or right, hot or cold, up or down, and I really didn't like that, because that doesn't seem real life is more nuanced than that. It's nothing's that simple. You have to be optimistic about certain things, pessimistic about other things, but really you have to see beyond optimism and pessimism, and maybe that's the reason why I'm not a CEO, is because I don't I think I make things too complicated and things are more simple. I don't know, maybe that's the truth, but yeah, uh, I would say that I have to read the book again, but the fact that I want to read it again means that it's a great book. Um, it, the Joe Trammell was very big on honesty. He said if you want to be a successful CEO, you can't have any dishonesty in your history. You know, so that's something to keep in mind. And yeah, this video is going long. I'm going to stop it right now because this next book is going to take me a long time to talk about, and I'm already at the 20-minute mark, 21 minutes. So, yeah, thanks a lot and have a nice day. Bye.